Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Friday, February 8th, 2019. And here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front over there in Asia, Nikkei down again. A lot of the other markets are still closed for the holiday over there. In Europe, it's a down day. Here in the States, markets aren't quite closed yet as we're doing trends in the news, but the Dow's down about 170 points, Nasdaq's down 3 points, and oil's up a little bit, gold's up a little bit, and Bitcoin up more than a bit, almost 8%. Whew. Anyway, so what happened in the markets? Well, you know, it's another day. They're up, they're down, blaming that China trade talks, and that's what's bringing the markets down. And you know what that is?
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
It's the same horseshit they've been saying. There's a global slowdown going on. You read about in your trends journals. It's all documented in your trends alerts, one after another. How many times do you have to hear it? Well, maybe you need to hear it another time. Weak economic start to 2019. Survey data released indicated that France's output declined, while in December, retail sales across the Eurozone had their steepest monthly fall since mid-2011. Oh, yeah, that was at the height of the European market crisis, right? And that's what it's dropping to. Italy's economy, boop, officially into recession, 2 straight quarters of negative GDP, and the composite purchasing managers index fell to 48.8 from 50 in December. Below 50 is decline. So there you got it. There's a slowdown. All the numbers show it. Yeah. Purchasing index gives early warnings, one after another around the world. Gold, it's staying in that 1314, 1320 level, looking good. Has to break above 1385. From there, 1450. 1450, shoot, to 2000 and above. That's our forecast. But has to break above that 1385 to get to the 1450, and it hasn't been able to do that. Back to the market sector. Where are the markets going? You know the story. You got to bring down them interest rates. And we are forecasting, as I long have, since Powell did a backtrack, our Fed chair, from September when he said or indicated they were going to raise rates one more time in 2018, which they did, and up to 3 or 4 times this year, which they're not. So we're saying, and that's why we made our economic 9/11 forecast on the basis of raising interest rates, because you need more of that monetary methadone to keep that bull running. So we're forecasting that they are going to lower interest rates. Forget about quantitative tightening. It's going to be quantitative easing. And you know why? To keep the markets up and all those merger and acquisition activities hot. Big regional banks agreed to merge. Isn't that wonderful? Making the too big to fails bigger and keep putting out of business all the smaller competitors. So the multinationals, the big banksters control the world. It's globalization. Hey, your Trends Journal, monthly, came out. Woof. Nothing else like it anywhere in the world. While one of these stories cuts Advice Media, our latest new media reckoning. Online publishers are hitting digital ad ceilings, one after another, not only online. All the staffs are being cut back in the print, much of the broadcast, and the digital media. Except for you. You're getting trend alerts each week. Trends in the news, see? And a Trends Monthly used to be a quarterly, all for the grand total of $10.75 a month, or $129 a year, to help you prepare, prevail, and prosper. We'll put our track record up against anyone's. Toyota, General Motors, and Daimler, deep in gloom with warning on year ahead. Again, they're going to do what they can to pump up the markets. So we don't see them crashing, not yet, because the Federal Reserve has a long way down to go, and they're going to start bringing them interest rates lower. I should be proper. Those interest rates. New York City clamps down on cannabis-infused products. New York City is cracking down on the sale of food and drinks containing cannabis oil. What a bunch of baloney. You got these little freaks closing, little fines they're giving people. Let's get this straight, everybody. The criminals who criminalized marijuana are now decriminalizing it. Really makes perfect sense. The same little low-life freaky creeps who made it illegal ruined the lives of tens of millions of people when you put the families in hundreds of millions. Hey, now it's legal, but we want our cut, and we're going to tell you what to do with it. Yeah, it's a disgrace. This is God's plant. God gave it to us. Not you, you little freak. I should say freaks. Men, women, black, white, all colors, called Republicans and Democrats. Democrats. And repulsiveless publicans. How dare they? Anyway, what else do we have here? U.S. military plans for all troops to be out of Syria by end of April. Bravo. And they're also talking about ending the war in Afghanistan. Terrific. Because, hey, I launched Occupy Peace. I want peace. Bring home all the troops. But we got that other guy there, Trump, and his Secretary of State, Pompeo, and John Bolton. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo claims, you ready for this? Terror threat as cause for U.S. action in Venezuela. You know what that is.
Warning, warning, bullshit alert.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told Fox News reporter Trish Regan on Wednesday that Hezbollah, a Shia terrorist group based in Lebanon, has a presence in Venezuela. Quote, people don't recognize that Hezbollah has active cells. The Iranians are impacting the people of Venezuela and throughout South America. We have an obligation to take down that risk for America. This is such disgusting crap. Hezbollah, by the way, is not called a terrorist group by a lot of other countries. But hey, we do. And the Iranian thing, you keep hearing it over and over. We said that you're going to see a war launched against Iran by the United States with Saudi Arabia and Israel going after Iran. And now they're putting Iran into Venezuela. And America, all it has is a track record of 100% failure in bringing democracy to a country near you. Great job in Iraq. Oh, how about Syria? Forgot Libya. Hey, look at Yemen. One after another, one total loss after another. And now this one will be big because you look at our top trends. Human waves. War breaks out in Venezuela. It's going to go into Colombia, going to go into Brazil, and possibly Argentina. Because they're the ones, the triangle of death, that are forming this with the United States behind it. And this little boy they put up there, this one, Guaido, this guy's nothing more than a pimp and a pawn. That's right. He went to George Washington University. He's being primed. He's just a little front boy. Nobody ever heard of this guy until the United States started propping him up. 81% of the Venezuelans didn't know who he was. If war breaks out there, you're going to see a human wave of people leaving Central and South America that's going to be uncontrollable. And moving on, because we're very concerned about bringing freedom and justice to the people of Venezuela, but just pick this up from a couple of weeks ago just to show the hypocrisy. Congo election tainted by fraud as leaked data show Fayula won vote. This is from January 16th, the same exact time when the United States launched the coup attempt against Maduro of Venezuela. How come anybody, hey, wait, Pompeo, what do you got, lockjaw on this one? Yeah, they got a lot of, good stuff over there. They got cobalt, and they got a lot of precious metals over there in Congo. How come we don't want to invade them? Because after all, Venezuela is sitting on the largest oil reserves in the world. Yeah, the hypocrisy. French lawmakers passed bill to suppress violent protest of the yellow vests. Violent protest? They're stopping protests. How come the United States isn't supporting the people of France that want to get rid of that little Catson Macron? Yeah, the banker boy. The rich people's president. How come there's no outrage there? I'll tell you why. Because you're a bunch of phony hypocrites. U.S. forges deal with Seoul over military. Last year, South Korea paid around $830 million to host U.S. forces. About half the overall cost. What are we doing there? The Korean War illegally launched by another sick son of a bitch, Harry Truman, destroyed North Korea. The pilots used to radio back, there's nothing left to bomb. And we're still there. And talking about how they're targeting Iran. I forgot, let's go back to President Trump with his State of the Union address. Iran hit back at President Trump's State of the Union address, in which he called Tehran the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, saying the U.S. has a history of backing brutal regimes in the Middle East. They're right. America has a history of not only backing, but overthrowing brutal regimes in the Middle East. And now they're setting another one up. U.S. hostility has led to support butchers and extremists who've only brought ruin to our own region, Iran's foreign minister tweeted. He's right. The terrorist groups have been formed by the United States. You go back to Jimmy Carter when he wanted to get the Russians out of Afghanistan. Mujahideen. Yeah, you remember that one? Who did they bring in to overthrow the government of Libya? The Gaddafi government. Yep, them wonderful ISISes and other radical Islamic groups. Then pushed them into Syria. That's where the terrorism is. And finally, here's the news. The next president of the United States, or I should say, the Democratic candidate, front page in Thursday's New York Times. Oh, you don't see it? Here it is. A young O'Rourke in the city, searching for a path then to. A young O'Rourke in the city, adrift then to. And look who he's sitting with. Oprah Winfrey just had him on her show. In our 2008 Trends Journal, we showed how when Barack Obama was taken under the wing of the queen of the talk shows, he knew how to put on that act and talk in front of that teleprompter without skipping a beat. And he's being groomed next. He says he's not going to announce it until later this month. I got to talk to my family. Like, yeah, who are you kidding? Why did the New York Times give this little boy of nothing, because they say he was adrift, and when you look at his career, if daddy wasn't daddy, and his daddy-in-law wasn't a billionaire, Beto O'Rourke, nobody would know. The white Obama, that's who, and he may become the next president of the United States, Beto, with that O meaning zero, double the zero, O'Rourke. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.